Is it possible to visit the steppe, semi-desert and relic forest in one day? Where did the scattering of lakes come from among the Feather Grass Sea? Why does the Naurzum Nature Reserve attract more and more tourists every year? All this in the new episode of Welcome to Kazakhstan project.
Once,
on the site of the Naurzum Reserve, there was the ancient Torgai Sea, which existed in the Mesozoic era. Rivers, lakes, streams, all these are the remnants of glaciers. But when the snow melted, animals appeared in the pine forests, birds flew to the river reservoirs. We will tell about this and not only in the next episode of Welcome to Kazakhstan project. My name is Zakirjan Mamlutov. Let's broaden our horizons. There are 6 tourist routes through the reserve. All of them start from the village of Karamende. Special facilities for cyclists are not yet created, but they are in plans. But horse rides are organized here, and they are very popular. The tourist route through the Naurzum Reserve starts from this place. This is the Bokai Spring. It is named after one Aksakal who looked after the spring. Over time, one wonderful tradition has emerged. Before you start your journey through the reserve, you need to drink cold spring water. The most important feature of the Naurzum Reserve is that we are included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. This is if you look from this side. And from the point of view of nature, the uniqueness of the reserve is that it combines 4 different complexes. There are forest, steppe, lakes and semi-desert. And in this area, more than 600, or more precisely 687 species of plants grow, which in fact should not grow very close to each other. Also, this reserve is located in the middle of the Torgai Hollow. This is a huge migratory route for many bird species. There are a lot of red-book birds flying over this area. Many of the pines here are over 100 years old. It has been proven that such ancient coniferous trees begin to emit odorous substances into the atmosphere, which has positive effect on human health. And since the forest is relict, quartz sand is everywhere underfoot. Old-timers say that in especially hot weather, in the open sun, it gets so hot that you can cook scrambled eggs. It is good that the pines are always ready to shelter the traveler under their wide branches. Is this tree really 220 years old? Yes. Scientists foresters came from Yekaterinburg, and the age of this tree was measured with special equipment. During the measurements, it was determined that it is 220 years old. But you can also find out by paying attention to the diameter of the tree. It is one of the largest ones. For example, 2 adults can embrace it, but 1 person is not enough. And there are also places in Naurzum where the earth literally goes from under your feet. It is about such natural phenomenon as karst sinkholes. Due to groundwater which erodes the soil, part of the earth's surface collapses, forming a funnel. This happens in our days. Yesterday there was a flat steppe, and today it is already a bottomless pit. Karst sinkholes in Naurzum are planned to be fenced off and turned into another point of visit for tourists.
подобных провалов на...
There are more than 70 such sinkholes in this small area. Their depth is also different, from 1.5 to 6 meters. But what surprised us most was this sinkhole, depth more than 15 meters. As a rule, tourists are not allowed close to them. It is life-threatening to be here, because they are constantly falling off. One of the most popular routes through the forest leads to Old Naurzum. Once a regional center with a population of 6,000 people, now it is left at the mercy of nature. The fact is that the protected area of the reserve was growing and in the 70s of the last century had reached the village. Residents had to move and Old Naurzum remained in the relict forest. Now there are routes for a huge number of animals inhabiting the reserve. The reserve is home to 342 species of vertebrates, of which 42 are mammals. As in the vegetable world, there is a mixture of representatives of different climatic zones. In the relict forest, there are squirrels and hares, a steppe-eared hedgehog. Often there are predators, wolf, Corsac fox. The largest mammals living in the reserve are moose and wild boar. Just a few decades ago, the fauna of the reserve was enriched. A lynx settled in the forests, a forest marten appeared, a raccoon dog began to come across. In general, the animal world of the Naurzum Reserve is a quarter of the entire fauna of Kazakhstan. Also, a lot of different species of animals are concentrated in this area. We have 46 species of mammals. Among them, some are included in the Red Book, the forest marten, and in the recent years, the saiga has returned to us. Great interest is especially among foreigners who come here to photograph the white-tailed eagle, burial eagle, nesting golden eagles, or the marmots, which are ordinary animals for Kazakhstan. But foreigners who come can see firsthand how mammoths work their baby marmots near their colonies, near their burrows. It is very interesting for visiting guests. When planning a trip to the Naurzum Reserve, it is important to take into account the seasonality. The best time to visit these places is late spring. Then you will definitely see the flowering of the steppe, the birth of small moose calves. You shouldn't come here at the end of summer. There is a high probability of steppe fires, but when you come here in the fall, you will definitely encounter a unique migration of birds. By the way, birds are one of the main features of Naurzum. After all, it is an important staging post for many migratory birds. It is a paradise for bird-watching fans. Almost 300 species of birds inhabit Naurzum. There are more than 30 varieties of predators alone: black kite, white-tailed eagle, burial eagle, and others. Many of the local inhabitants are listed in the Red Book. Many flowers, trees, and herbs are relict, that is, they appeared in prehistoric times. The main flower of the local steppes is, of course, Schrenk's tulip. The ancestor of all tulips blooms at the end of April, and then everything around turns into a yellow-red carpet. The length of tourist routes in the Naurzum Reserve is 185 kilometers. Beginners are advised a trail called Sarimoin Valley. Its length is 16 kilometers, which even an unexpected tourist can master in a day. The key point of the route is Lake Sarimoin, which changes its size from year to year, filling up with water and drying out.
наиболее...
But what the most relevant for the Naurzum Reserve, of course, is ecotourism. Indeed, every year humanity is more and more aware of how the world around us is beautiful and at the same time fragile. And what a happiness is to forget about the problems of big cities and touch the pristine nature.